We have been trying, I have to tell you, to get this live subscription going for probably the last 12 years. So it's quite a while that it's been something that we've considered way before COVID and way before any organization started thinking about, how could we deliver training en masse, deliver it quickly, deliver it right to where people are. Back in the day, for some of you who have been around long enough, you might remember that training budgets, we are absolutely, used to go towards travel because we used to have to fly people in from here to there, make sure that we are accommodating them as well, feeding them as well, hiring the room. And so that's where a lot of the budget went. But I think you all could acknowledge that since COVID, there's been quite a dramatic change in the way in which a workforce operates. And to be frank, we used to have the most beautiful training rooms in our Hunter Street offices, and we no longer have them because very few people now will commit to a full day of learning. And if they do, it's got to be a really exciting experience. It can't be the traditional type of time management, delegation skills, those types of courses that we've always been doing over time. So this particular slide just compares the advantages and the disadvantages, essentially, of doing virtual classroom. And we prefer to use the word, I hope you've noticed, virtual classroom rather than webinar, because I am going to be handing over shortly, for any of you who missed it, to Karina, who is one of our facilitators. So she's going to give a little bit of a demonstration of what happens in a very interactive and engaging way, so that people cannot just take out their phones and do their social media in the middle. They really do have to participate fully. And as you can see, obviously ideal, and what we'd all like to do is forever more do face-to-face training. But I think the red dots here indicate where there are disadvantages for that. And essentially, every mode of delivery is going to have disadvantages. And I'd say why we have placed the live virtual training in the middle of this diagram is because it is a middle road that helps in some regards, not perfect in other regards, but generally speaking, gets training delivered and delivers it to a lot of people. Because my absolute firm belief is that the uptake in the online libraries is sometimes very low unless it is compliance delivered or compliance particular. And when it comes to some of the soft skills, people are probably using, if they want something that is self-paced and self-taught, they're going to YouTube or various other means. And yet the live class keeps them going because it is so much more engaging. There are lots of titles to choose from. It covers the whole organization. No, it is not for the C-suite. It is not intended for people who have already been to business schools and done all other kinds of training, unless obviously they need a refresher, because let's be honest, sometimes they do. But because it is available broadly, and because the titles are broad, and because the base is broad, you see much more change happening than sending one person to one face-to-face training program, because that's all the budget will allow. And so we've tried to make this as easy as possible. And when I hand over to Lil a little bit later, she'll show you how the booking portal works. She'll do a bit of a demonstration on the screen so that you have a good sense of how it works and how we want to make the student's life easy in terms of the being able to book, and also your reporting on what you're able to see and what the utilization is. And so when we talk of training en masse, we want to see change. And I don't believe that you see change if you're sending that one person to one course because that's all the budget allows. Here it is many people to many courses, and that's where you see the uplift in skills. So absolutely in the flow of work, nobody needs to go and find and book training flights and rooms and things like that. You just need your headset and your laptop and off you go. But we do make it very clear that people are going to have to participate. And to me, that's one of the huge advantages and has always been an advantage of a public schedule. If you remember the days of where is your training public schedule? That's where you meet people from other organizations. That's where you're able to collaborate. That's where you get the ideas. That's where you don't really feel alone. And I think this has that advantage over the those online big libraries where it is very much you're on your own. You are in fact that lonely person who has to absorb this on their own. I don't know if my English got a bit mangled there. But without question as well, when we have to consider budget, I mean, we all constrained by budget. And if we want to use this budget in a way that covers more people, that pushes out more training, there's no question that this is certainly an option to consider. And I'm sorry if I'm getting overexcited about it, but you can imagine that we have certainly put a lot of effort into making this work well so that students benefit as well as organizations, and to ensure as well that you see change. Because my famous saying, if you don't want to do training that leads to changes in behavior, send people out on the harbor cruise, pay Captain Cook or one of those people, throw in a few free drinks, and you'll see far better motivation and engagement than forcing people to do training that they don't want to be there, they don't enjoy it, they get nothing out of it. What a waste of a budget. So I hope that everybody is giving me a few thumbs up, that you agree with me on that. And I don't mind a few of the applause buttons if you can find any of those react emojis. Thank you. I am seeing a few of those now. So generally we do, I have to say, find incredibly positive feedback from the people who participate. Yes, of course, there are the few that will say, listen, I've covered this before. Fortunately, they do sometimes say, well, it was a good refresher for me as well. But overall, and I won't read those to you on the screen, you'll see that people engage in a very positive way with this. It's convenient for them. It's a short snap. It's 90 minutes. So people can keep their concentration and their focus for that time. We've got to go and attend something tomorrow. And I think, Karina, you're in it as well. That goes on for 4 hours. 4 hours online is pretty exhausting. 90 minutes for us is quite a sweet spot where you're just starting to lose concentration by the end. But we're making sure that everybody's hands are busy, they're typing, they've got to do stuff. They really cannot just press the snooze button or revert to social media. So I hope that's making sense for everyone, just from a zoomed out perspective around what we do and how it works. We do serve a lot of different organizations in different types of sectors. Public sector, private sector, we definitely have quite a few of those. But we do make sure that in that 90 minutes, things are happening and things are pumping. So there's a wide range, as I said, to choose from. But in addition to that, we're making sure that people are having to think. They can't just sit there and watch another video. They can do that on YouTube, or they can do that in your LinkedIn or whatever library. Here, they've got to be asking the questions, engaging, responding. They've got to be putting things up on whiteboards. They've really got to be in the moment. And I think that's another one of the huge advantages. So I've just given you here a sample before I hand over to Karina of just the types of sessions. You can see the IT ones. Have we got what's that new set of things that we've got? The BBBV.
Power BI.
Power BI, how could I forget? So there's Power BI. I don't know if it's on that list, but I'll hand over to Karina, who will focus on the softer, well, like to call them the power skills side of things, but you can see the extent of the offer. So Karina, if you want to take it from here and just give a little bit more detail and a sense of what the training looks and feels like.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Denise. Really appreciate that introduction. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's so good to see you all. Like Denise mentioned, my name is Karina Parks, and I'm one of the lead facilitators for our LVS session. And I'm so excited today to share the Adobe platform that we use when we run our live virtual classes. So the wonderful Lil is going to share right now what the Adobe room looks like when our amazing participants enter the room. So this is the general slide that they will enter in on, or the screen, sorry, that they'll enter in on. We have a lovely little welcome note there. Generally, the facilitator will have their camera on so they can put a nice face to a name. We get the people nice and engaged early. We, as facilitators, we get into the room early to make sure that we're welcoming and setting the energy and pace for the session, which is great. We also, on that slide there, have a link through to our YouTube channel as well, which I also promote, that has some great little 1-minute video like snippets of some the more popular or most of the courses on the schedule. So if people aren't sure what session to book in after they've completed the one that they're doing, that YouTube channel has some great little suggestions as well. So this Adobe room today is for give and receive feedback. So if I could we'll just move on to the next slide there, or the next page. And this is where we have the title. So we give everybody a rundown on what the session and the purpose is about. You can see here also that the participants' names that are in the session are also listed on the right-hand side. They also, up the top, you'll see the little hand with the plus sign next to it. And that's got a range of different actions and emojis. So we really want everybody to share the love throughout the session. Like Denise mentioned, very hands-on, lots and lots of engagement happening throughout the session. Once we do the intro of what the title and the session is going to be about, we really take the time to set the scene. We remind everybody to be present, and this is their learning, their growth, and their development. So shut down the emails and the Teams chats and those type of things. We also remind everyone that engagement is absolutely key. The more they put into it is the more that they're going to get out of it, and that we all learn from each other. So yes, I have a background in leadership and management. I love sharing my background of leadership and management in these sessions, and stories and experiences of what I've happened to me in the past, and different models I've used and techniques. But it's so good because everyone learns from each other. And when we have a really interactive group, they are supporting each other. They are sharing hints and tips. So it's a very informative session where they can get those gold nuggets, those really key moments to grab and then implement as early as that afternoon or that day into the workplace, and then pop into their workplace toolkit. So we do have microphones and cameras turned off most of these sessions, apart from the facilitators, obviously, just so due to numbers as well. We have the higher numbers and timing being that it's that 90 minutes. If we have smaller groups, or there is an option at the end that we can turn those on if needed as well. So we really promote people to ask questions throughout the session. They don't need to wait or put up a hand at any point. Type it straight. We get them to type it in. And we also remind people that we are online for 10 minutes after the session as well. So if they don't feel comfortable in front of a big group, asking the question, the facilitator hangs back at the end as well. If anything needs clarifying or there was any brain blocks throughout the session, that is there as well. Now, there is lots of different polls and layouts and activities. As we mentioned, it's quite hands-on, which I'll get into shortly. But I just want to say on this screen that we also really promote our sessions being a very safe space. So it's a safe space, especially when we have titles like building resilience or emotional intelligence or even giving and receiving feedback. It's a really supportive and very safe space when it comes to our sessions as well. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you can also see that there is a little resources pod with 4 or 5 different documents for this session. That is some further learning for the participants. So every session has some additional resources and further learning. So if our participants click on the 3 dots there, that is going to allow a download all option where they can download all those resources onto a zip folder for them to save them onto their device. So most of the sessions have a further learning document that has some great news articles and TED Talks and podcasts and book recommendations relating to each topic. We've also got some templates in there as well as some different models and just further learning in general, which is also really good. In those resources as well is also a copy of our slide deck presentation. So everything that they see in the presentation, they can run through with the slide deck as they've given a copy of that. But we make sure that they don't need the resources as part of the presentation most of the time as we deliver it and cover it in the session. So as always, we do love to evaluate each and every session, what's working, what's not, ways we can improve. So the evaluation link is displayed there at the end for our participants to fill out at the end of the session for feedback and ways that we can learn and grow. And I always, we look at them and see what's key takeaways, what's really sticking for our participants, and what ways that we can possibly change the session to improve it, to make sure we're keeping ahead of the game and current and up to date with everything that's going on. So that's a bit of an overview of what our amazing feedback form looks like. Thank you, Lil. Beautiful. So what we do, like Denise mentioned, is really get our participants' hands on the keys nice and early. We don't start off with big, hard things for them to think about. Nice, easy reflection points, get the session warmed up. Asking them what they want to get out of the session is really key. We go through that because it's really interesting because they see that, oh, I'm not the one that's in the same boat when it comes to this particular subject or this hurdle that I might be facing. So again, it's really good that we ask that, we go through, we read through some of the comments, and all the way through we are engaging with the participants through that chat box. So when I'm running my sessions, if somebody puts a comment in and I can relate to it in some knowledge or education or experience or a story on how I've dealt with that in the past, like I've mentioned, I share that story so people can relate. So it's not, like Denise mentioned, it's not super high-end stuff. This is very hands-on, practical things that they can implement straight away. So we have a little agenda or learning journey there that we roll through, and then we get into the session. So in regards to these online sessions, they are, like we mentioned, 90 minutes. So we move through it quickly to keep people engaged. We've separated the nice to know versus the need to know, and we also too are quite talented in our facilitation. I'm going to blow my own trumpet and all our facilitators' trumpets right now. Whereas we have been facilitating and delivering training for many, many years, a lot of our amazing facilitators. So we're able to juggle and read the room and see what people are needing from each and every session. Now I'm going to show you now, just pop on the polls. So in each session, we have different activities, different polls, all sorts of things. So what we can do here is we pop a poll up on the screen. Why is giving and receiving feedback such an integral part of business? And then the usual areas. So people can pick, it's anonymous, they can pick different polls and those types of things. And then we also have a different type of layout where if we're using a format around giving and receiving feedback, we give an example and then they've got the reflection points there. So they can stop and spend a few moments on using or practicing the formula or the model in the session so they get that little bit more confident with it to then go and implement it back into the workplace as well. So there's lots of different layouts, lots of different things as part of the session. At the end there, we also go through and we get some action tasks. So we make sure that we get everybody's key takeaways from the session. And we always also look at giving them some action. Sorry, these are the action tasks. So we give them some action steps from this session, go and focus on these particular areas. We give them some suggestions on other sessions that marry up nicely against this particular session as well. So if they want to book into their next sessions, and then we get their key takeaways at the end. And we also check their understanding throughout the session. And then obviously at the end, some further questions. So does anyone have any questions they would like to ask?
Thank you, Karina. I think that gave us a fabulous overview, but I'm sure you'll stay on as well and answer any further questions. And as I've said, please, if you've got anything that's particular to your organization, please speak to one of the account managers. You'll be more than happy to assist you. So I'm going to hand over now to Lil. Lil, can I hand over to you to share your screen and just give us a little bit of an insight in the last few minutes about how things work on the back end?
Thank you, Denise. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our session today. It's lovely to have you all here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and show you one of our demo booking portals that we have created. All right, so I am going to jump straight into it. So here we have one of our demo versions of a booking portal. So this will be available once you have come on board with us. Once you have onboarded, we do provide a link. So it's easily accessible by clicking on the link, and then you're able to embed this link into your LMS or into your SharePoint site or wherever is easily accessible for your organization. So also on this booking portal, I just want to advise that our data is stored on Australian soil, which is always a bonus. Upon registration into the booking portal, this will then allow the system to capture data. So once that data is captured, it then goes through and it filters through to our reporting, which you will have ability to pull live time reports. Also on this booking portal, you are able to add images, add videos, or if you wanted to promote a certain session, you're able to add that on here as well. So here we just have some information about what we can, how to create a course or create an account, sorry, logging into the booking portal, how to book. So they're pretty much just standard questions of how to get through the booking portal. So at the bottom of every booking portal, we do have our support email address. So all of our support team are based in Sydney. So support is available during business hours from 8:30 to 5 p.m. So all booking portals are customizable to suit your organization's branding, logos, images, fonts, you name it. You name it, we can do it.
Thank you, Lil. that was fantastic. I mean, obviously, Lil's just giving you a generic example, yes, but when it's available for your specific organization, she will also walk you through everything so that you'll be able to have a little bit of training in how to use it to make it as easy as possible. And thank you so much for that, Lil. That was a really great insight. So I hope that that's given everyone a little bit of an idea. Oh, am I freezing? A little bit of an idea of how it all works, why we do this on a slightly more zoomed out basis, and also then what it looks like being in a session. I think Karina gave you a little bit of an insight into that. And then Lil, on the technical side, how do we work so that there's the portal, it's booking, it's easy, and all students and participants are able to just tap in and go to the sessions that they find most suited. There is a layer where you could ask for approvals as well, because you might suddenly find that every seat in your subscription is used up in a flash, which won't be too good. And we certainly are able to make this work for you and ensure that people get the training that they need in the time that they need it and in the way in which they like to receive it. Remember that this is based on seats, so it's a subscription based on seats, so you don't have to nominate a particular cohort. You're able to use however many seats you've bought for the month and work it in that way. And we're very happy to go into more detail with you and into your specific organizational context. And I hope that today has given you at least an oversight of it and a little bit of a deep dive on a few of the areas as well. We'll stay online if anyone has any particular questions. If there's anything you'd like to type into chat, we're very happy to help you. If there's anything very specific that you need to know, please also just send us emails or speak to your account manager, and we'll be able to assist you, work with you, provide specific quotations for you. And we hope that this gets good use out of your budget and benefits all the participants as well as the organization, which is truly our aim from that side of things. So a very big thank you to everyone. I know that it's always hard to find that little bit of time in the day to do something a bit different, and thanks to our presenters. And we hope to see you at our next event. We've always got another event in the pipeline, so please look out. And thanks so much, Scott. Lovely to have you in this session, a good old friend of ours. So if there's anything you want to know, please type into chat. Otherwise, please speak to us afterwards. And thank you so much again for participating and for listening to us. Thank you.